Namaskar friends, this is NJ, your host on this channel. In this video we will have our discussion on the Rahu and Ketu's placement in our natal chart. So continuing our discussion, in this video we will try to understand if you will find Rahu to be placed in your 10th house and Ketu to be placed in your 4th house, what kind of results this placement will manifest. So definitely guys, this is one of the kind of placement if the planets are in a comprehensive way supporting this placement. Now definitely a lot goes into play. That Rahu and Ketu are placed in a favorable signs, the signs lord are well placed, supporting planets are aspecting this axis, and the right dasha came at the right times. So this can be a contribution towards some very big success. So guys, now starting first with the importance of notes in our life. So as you know, I always emphasize on this one thing, that when we talk about which all planets hold this key to bring out something which is latent in our personality, all of that potential and qualities are always attached with the Rahu and Ketu. Trust me guys, all those things which I have majorly achieved, like I do not see myself as much of an achiever, rather than whatsoever in all those times when the dots got connected for connecting me with my destiny. So obviously in those times Rahu and Ketu were in a strengthened state. Like when moon was conjunct with Ketu randomly out of nowhere, I was just applying for jobs in Canada and my resume randomly reached a talent agent and they actually encouraged me to take some classes, and that's how I ended up in a film school. At the time when I started my YouTube channel and when I actually enrolled for a course in Bharti Vidya Bhavan, even during that time as well, planets were in such a esoteric state. So the point which I'm trying to say over here is that Rahu and Ketu, if well placed in your chart, they could actually connect you with something which you have to follow in this lifetime, or something of which you do not have any idea. So our past is somehow connected with the Ketu, and whatsoever talent you possess and your maximum growth is somehow connected with Rahu. So yes guys, this is what the importance of the axis of Rahu and Ketu is. Now when it comes down to understanding this axis placement, so as you know that whenever Rahu is placed in the 10th house, this is a very good sign, because Rahu is a very extrovert planet who has got ambition, who has got lot many desires which are material in nature. Rahu wants to be epicenter of everything, like he wants the whole world to revolve around it, not like sun, because sun represents our primordial light. Rahu in a way can be looked at as that sort of artificial intelligence which wants to be appreciated for its talents, whether you have it or not, but it will definitely create that hype around you. So because of which, from Rahu's point of view, 10th house is a very good placement. And guys, when we talk about Ketu, so as you know that somehow Ketu operates on a very deeper subtle level, and if you actually want to experience any major transformation in your life, when we talk about that event happened in someone's life which completely transformed his life, or those sort of epiphany. So your life does not change only because of the external event or something which you have planned. It only happened, the major transformation happens when there are certain things which completely jolted you deep from inside. So if Ketu is placed in the 4th house, it can actually churn up your life, your thought process, your conviction into something much more brighter, bigger for your sole purpose. So guys, now let's first take our discussion to the house where Ketu is placed. So guys, first of all, you have to understand this thing, that when we talk about which all planets Ketu pays heed or Ketu respects, so out of all the planets, it's the Jupiter which Ketu is very much obedient towards. Now in the original Kalpurush Kundli, 4th house somehow carries the energy of Cancer, where Jupiter attains exaltation. So because of which, if you actually want to appease Ketu, so even not only doing the remedies for Ketu but also opting for remedies for Jupiter will also give more power and strength to your Ketu. So all the signification of Ketu, where we talk about perfectionism, male progeny, recognition, all of that can come easy to the native. So guys, one thing which I want to say over here is that because 4th house tells about our domestic life, fourth house also tells about our home environment. So if you have Ketu placed in the fourth house, specifically, generally it has been advised, like if I were to take my Indian childhood and upbringing experience, like right from my early school days, I remember like whenever my mom will start cooking in the morning for the breakfast and all, so she has to take out 3 chapatis every time, 1 chapati for crow, 1 chapati for cow, and 1 for dog. Like, because in India it's easy to find these animals in the neighborhood. So what I generally advise for people who have Ketu in the fourth house, so your home setup has to be completely in sync with all the cosmic principles, all the in harmony with nature. And moreover, when we talk about like for example Vastu principles, and even following all these remedies within the home life as well, like it could be as simple as that when you sleep, your head has to be facing the south direction, and your legs has to be facing the north direction, and your northeast direction in your house has to be devoted towards the prayers, and your prayer room has to be set up in that corner. And guys, because like the way I mentioned this thing, that fourth house tells about your home life, and Ketu represents nature. So doing everything around your place which is somehow in harmony with nature becomes very important. Like, again, see, because we have to take into consideration country, era, culture, everything. So like for example, feeding birds, feeding stray dogs, feeding cows is very much feasible and possible, for example, in Indian neighborhood. But when we talk about, let's say for example, I live in Vancouver, and there are certain parts where there is so much of the threat of the invasion, trespassing, or bear spotting. So you cannot even leave your garbage bins open because it might attract coyotes and bear. So definitely everything comes down to that whatsoever is possible or feasible basis the area you are living, but do that in order to stay and show your gesture towards the nature. Like this could be as simple as that, keeping a bowl of water for the birds on your roof and all. So doing all these things or living in harmony with nature becomes very important for all those people who have Ketu placed in the fourth house. Like it has been even written to such an extent that, again, over here as well, because my experiences are filled with the Indian neighborhood and Indian communities only, where we used to have like so many yogis and walking saints and mendicants who used to come to the houses. So never ever let go any of the saint from your door empty handed. That is something which we say if you have Ketu placed in your fourth house. Apart from that, guys, when we talk about the general attributes, so in this axis, one thing is for sure that moreover, from the mother's point of view, this axis placement is very beneficial for the well-being of your father. Second thing is that definitely, guys, this is a kind of a placement where insecurity, some sort of mysterious experiences while growing up is something which many people have to go through. But the good aspect with this placement is that many times, if let's say for example Jupiter is well placed in the chart, Saturn is well placed in the chart, so this detachment from the family life many times connect the native, like all those people who are just because they are so dissatisfied with their family life that they put their whole energy in their career, and they remain lucky in carving a niche or becoming very successful, reaching the top of the position and power, or completely because of the dissatisfaction from their family life. This dissatisfaction takes them to the foreign land. This dissatisfaction makes them devote more towards the community related causes and concerns. So this is how this placement has been mentioned. Along with that, guys, I already mentioned this thing, for the well-being of the mother, this placement is not a very good sign. So many times it has been seen that the nourishment of mother might be lacking in the life of the native in his early formative years. Again, guys, now science has advanced to such an extent that there is a replacement for everything, but the role which mother plays in the formation of the life, right from the time when life originates to the children, is like a kid is born and his early formative years, so mother's role cannot be replaced. So over there, whatsoever experience native will go through will be very karmic in nature, which you cannot question or which you should not be very confused with. So let's say, for example, with this kind of access, you might get a very doting mother who otherwise had a very successful career, but she sacrificed everything just to devote her complete time and attention to the child. And let's say, for example, with this kind of placement, in its extreme case, abandonment related issue, or in your domestic life, your parents are not getting along well, or you are with a single parent, and where your mother has so many different issues with the partners, and which is also affecting you negatively. So a lot can be said with this kind of access, but one thing which I want to recommend in general is that not only your domestic life, your the house where you live, but somehow always respect and honor nature, and do not try to do something which is completely unnatural, or where you are in a way causing harm to the nature. That is one thing which I want to advise with this placement of Ketu in the 4th house. Again guys, for anything to do with the material success, for the recognition point of view, this could be a very good combination, very supportive placement. And after this guys, as you know that when we talk about the remedies, so like generally the way it has been mentioned that even if you have a guru in your you have a family guru, you have any of the person you have strong faith in, so even whenever you go to visit that guru of yours, so taking all the Jupiterian things to offer him will be one of the way of making peace with the energies of Ketu in the 4th house. Like we say that the yellow things or yellow sweets, taking them whenever you are going to visit any of the religious place or to your guru can be considered for all those people who have Ketu placed in the 4th house. And generally we say that, you know, adding turmeric in your like I would say that in your beverage, like having a turmeric milk, putting saffron tilak in your forehead, or gold in your body. And because Ketu also represents your ear lobes, your piercing, so gold earrings generally in the ears is considered as one of the way of making peace with the Jupiterian energy. And nothing could be better than that. Like the puja room of your, or the prayer room in your house, if the walls of that is painted yellow, so light yellow, so that could be also one of the way of making peace with this placement of Ketu in your 4th house. Now guys, let's go to the Rahu's placement in the 10th house. So guys, definitely because Rahu is a very extrovert, outgoing, materialistic, ambitious planet. Rahu's placement in the 10th house is undoubtedly considered as one of the very best placement. So for doing something out of the box, carving a niche for yourself, becoming very recognized, becoming a pioneer, becoming famous in your field, all of that this placement of Rahu in the 10th house supports. So guys, although like I do not have any negative thing to say with this placement, everything comes down to that how the overall chart is supporting this placement of Rahu in the 10th house. Like trust me, a lot many people with international stature has been found with Rahu's energies supporting them in the 10th house. You can also become a very successful politician as well if you have Rahu placed in the 10th house. Again guys, because Rahu somehow gives results equivalent to the style and theme and energy of the planet Saturn, and in the original Kal Purush Kundli, 10th house belongs to the planet Saturn only. And now we say that for a successful politician, you do not only need a very well placed Saturn, but you need a strong Rahu as well. Rahu represents the diplomatic approach of being a politician, and Saturn represents the mass support, your intention to do something good. So I would say guys that with this 10th house placement, I do not have any wonderful thing to say. But yes guys, with this kind of placement, the only concern is that, let's say for example, if the overall chart is not very supportive, like let's say for example the 10th house lord, like let's take up the case of Scorpio Lagna. So for the Scorpio Lagna, the 10th house rulership goes to the planet Sun. And let's say for example for the Scorpio Lagna 10th house lord, Sun is debilitated in the 12th house. and this guy has got Ketu in the 4th house and Rahu in the 10th house, and someone has predicted on this chart that, you know, bro, you just go to foreign land and you will get all the glory, all the recognition. And the moment this guy moved to foreign land, he got entangled into some scam, some problem, some allegation. So because you have to take into consideration how the overall chart is responding. Guys, at the end of the day, Rahu is a chameleon. Rahu is a planet of manipulation, and also because Rahu also represents the thoughts which comes to our mind. So at the end of the day, the Rahu will only operate in the house where it is placed in. So this manipulation, this scheming, this plotting, rather than using it constructively for doing something innovative at your work front, you might be filled with, overwhelmed with the self-afflicting thoughts or very despicable or manipulating thoughts, which is going to create more and more trouble and disharmony at your work front, affecting your public image. So again, guys, we have to take into consideration how the overall chart is responding to it. But in general, in a nutshell, this placement is considered as very good, whether you talk about from the wealth point of view, for the anything to do with the cosmopolitan identity, worldly accomplishments, having a very ambitious personality, material and kind of, you know, attainment of position and power, support to your father. So from all point of view, this placement and this axis of Rahu and Ketu is considered as one of the very good in compared to all different and other houses of our natal chart. So guys, this is something which I wanted to say as a part of my inputs. For furthermore updates and notifications on the divine science of Vedic astrology, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and like my Facebook page. Dhanyawad.